Well, thanks and welcome to the 6:15 with me, Kejang Henry at Tembe. Now let's begin with our headlines. Barrister Alice Nkom says she will respect the 2024. The AT not do it as her lawyers had secured an adjournment. And households are struggling to cope up with outages as it is very difficult in Douala. Power outages hit the economic city. And so we are going to have the head coach of the national team. Top stories. Kejang Henry at our outages. Cynthia Latte.
Tout à l'heure, je vais écraser mon coquille. On a coupé la lumière. Je fais donc comment?
Douala's ongoing power outages are turning everyday household activities into a constant struggle. Housewives into a constant struggle. Housewives across the city are facing mounting challenges, from food spoiling in freezers to an inability to make things so unpleasant, coupled with the dry season heat, which is intense, especially in Douala. The outages are particularly burdensome in a city where temperatures soar, leaving homes unbearably hot. Without fans or air conditioning, sleepless nights have become the norm as families endure relentless heat. And nights have become the norm as families endure relentless heat and deal with the health risk posed by swarms of mosquitoes. We prefer being told to rely on generators than relying on constant power outages. These conditions are contributing to an increased risk of malaria, especially by children who are already struggling to study in the dark. Amid growing frustrations, residents are appealing to the electricity distribution company to intervene urgently. In a communiqué released on December 17, that intervention
in a major crackdown on financial fraud, officials of the Baham Gendarmerie Company seized more than 500,000 francs CFA it belonged to a gang of 5 individuals arrested near the city of Yaoundé. The gang was led by a couple who owned a small business in the Mana neighborhood. According to authorities, the couple used their
Reports indicated that counterfeit planes, after receiving several complaints, we conducted surveillance and seized an initial quantity of counterfeit banknotes. The investigation led us to Yaoundé, where we apprehended 5 suspects on December 23rd.
The gang's modus operandi involved exchanging counterfeit notes for real ones. For instance, they offered 100,000 CFA francs in fake notes for 100 CFA francs in real money, or exchange 50,000. Authorities confirm the gang operated illegally in several towns within the west region of Cameroon.
I want to was conducted strictly within
the suspects.
Thanks very much, Ambo Gladys and Spec Officer Kulbut Ama. Social media share reports from Yaoundé.
In the afternoon of January 13, 2025, the announcement of the death reported the suicide of the former administrative authority who has been in retirement for over a year. A tragic scene that occurred at his residence here at the Kolanga neighborhood in Yaoundé. Upon arrival at the home of the incident, after alerted, law enforcement officers found Kulbot Aman David lying in a pool of blood with a hunting rifle beside him. And on the social media, while some say he committed suicide, others have attributed different hypotheses to his demise. And to establish the truth, here we are at Kolanga, heading to the family home at about 7 p.m. The gate is widely opened. Many are here at the courtyard to sympathize with the family. The atmosphere is heavy with sadness. However, we are forbidden by the family to capture any form of images. The family struggling with the different versions of information circulating on social media. Meanwhile, the investigation has just begun. According to a security source, it is essential to remain cautious and avoid making hasty conclusions. A source openly stated that at this time, no one knows exactly what happened at the residence. Investigators are exploring all possible leads to establish the facts on the death of the 61-year-old SDO.
And youths in Cameroon are divided over political engagement as Cameroon prepares ahead of crucial elections. And as experts say, they constitute a greater chunk of the electorate. Many of them seem not to be concerned. Ambo Gladys, take a look on youth apathy.
Young people in Cameroon aged 20 to 35 form a critical segment of the voting population, accounting for over 7.1 million of the 13.8 million Cameroonians eligible to vote, according to politician Cabral Libi. He says youth voter registration, that is just 36.6% registered to vote. For some, the lack of engagement stems from fear and disillusionment with the system.
I'm not interested in politics because in Cameroon there is no freedom of expression. Once you express your opinion, you can be arrested and tortured. It's better to stay out of it.
Others, however, are determined to fight for change.
We have suffered a lot in this country. As an electoral year, we want change. We are tired of the regime and the system.
This growing frustration is translating into action for some who had previously abstained from voting.
I have not voted in the past because it was always rigged. But this year we want change. That is why we've decided to take an interest in voting.
Observers note a noticeable shift in youth attitudes towards political engagement. Youth participation in elections, historically low, especially after the 2012 electoral reforms, has been on the rise since 2017. Civil society organizations and political parties have ramped up efforts to educate young people on the importance of their votes.
Efforts to deploy thousands of young electoral educators and agents are showing promise. We are seeing more students and young individuals registering and engaging in political discussions.
For others, participating in politics is seen as a duty.
If you're not interested in politics as a youth, it means you don't know what you're doing. We have to massively register on the electoral roll.
As the voter registration process continues, the opportunity for young Cameroonians to push for change remains open. With increased awareness and momentum, there is cautious optimism that the tide is turning for youth involvement in
the Secretariat of State of National Defense in Yaoundé, or National Gendarmerie in Yaoundé. Unfortunately, she had earlier notified the Otocom, who was summoned to report in Yaoundé on January 14, but then she has confirmed that she will be there on January the 20th. Details in the following report.
Versatile human rights defender Barrister Alice Nkom has confirmed she would respect the summons served to her by the State Secretariat of Defense to appear before the military court on January 20, 2025.
Lawyers asked for an adjournment of this convocation to the gendarmerie and military. Yeah, they asked this adjournment, and this adjournment was granted for and people who love me, not with gendarmes. No. So we will be there for the next time.
The 80-year-old financing terrorism. It is worth recalling that Barrister Alice Nkom was initially scheduled to appear at the set on January 14. However, her legal team secured an adjournment as the date coincided with her birthday. Today, January 14, she celebrates her 80th birthday. When we visited her office in Bali, Douala, the great-grandmother was surrounded by birthday flowers and cards sent by well-wishers, including her son, a medical doctor based in Germany.
Barrister Alice Nkom has been in conflict with the authorities after reportedly breaking a seal twice on the offices of the Central African Human Rights Defenders Network, REDAC. The seal had been placed by Vuri Senior Divisional Officer Siliak Marie Mvogo, following instructions from the Minister of Territorial Administration. In addition to Barrister Nkom's case, other civil society figures such as Edith Kawola and Barrister Sim have asked to be summoned. And in order to better accompany taxpayers with the recent changes in the fiscal system, the training of integrated taxpayers or tax partners for the year 2025 has flagged off. Let's move over to Yaoundé and meet Beatrice Ngamo with the details.
The new tax measure of the 2025 finance law and the new law on local taxation is operational since last December 2024, voted at the National Assembly. Big change in the fiscal system directed to local taxes.
Put in place the reform who can optimize the budget of local collectivities.
The place for the training is to have the right information. This concerns approved management centers and integrated tax partners. The session this January 14th is for integrated partners who answered in their numbers.
It is very important for us to train our fiscal partner agent in order for them to master the changes that is going on in order to better accompany our taxpayer.
New local taxation reform will see new local and personal tax centers replacing divisional tax centers.
New taxation center will be dedicated on collecting local taxes.
Taxpayers have to declare and pay through the digitalized system. Need for them to be in possession of the tax index with local councils.
To be registered in our database for them to declare and pay with all the means, that is through bank transfer, through mobile transfer.
All to secure the revenue, ensure a smooth chain from taxpayers to the right account.
And in sports, now we're talking football. The former captain and coach of the indomitable Lions, Rigobert Song Bahanak, has been appointed as the head coach of the senior men's club of the Central African Republic, an appointment that has been contested by the federation of that country, which says it was sidelined during the negotiations. Hyacinth Sher has the details.
It has been close to a year that Rigobert Song Bahanak parted ways with the former emblematic captain has been discreet, but looking for where to drop his coaching bag. On Monday, January 13, 2025, Rigobert Song Bahanak is appointed as the head coach of the Central African Republic national team. In a document signed by the minister in charge of the promotion of youth, sport and civic education, the man of the danger theory is appointed alongside 3 assistant coaches to run the affairs of the senior men's national team. The former coach of the Lions is named few hours after he is granted audience by the Central African Republic head of state, Faustin Archange Touadéra, who received the unforgettable number 4 jersey of the AFCON winner. But in what appears like the Minsep Fekafo drama over the appointment of Mark Breeze and the Lions technical